the villain. They don't understand the things I say on Twitter. They don't understand the things I say on Twitter. All my niggas Nazis. She wanna put the pen. I put the crumb on the pen.
Alright, we back with another video. I just really gotta react to this Ye situation. This shit is fucking wild, yo. Like, it's difficult to process this shit. It's like eating McDonald's after having a Whole Foods diet. And you realize, like, oh, it's yummy, but this stuff is toxic. That's the whole point. It's alluring, it's provocative, it's toxic. To be honest, I don't like it. Alright, so we starting it out. We got this crazy imagery, all black room, black figures, indigenous vibes. But when you go a little bit deeper into it, you start to realize, like, the toxicity here. Like, if you listen to the lyrics, you're supposed to feel these emotions of, oh my gosh, they're really fucking with them. But they're really not. I really think this is all an act. I used to believe, like, oh man, they really fucking with Ye out here, but he knew what he was getting into. Ain't no way you gonna marry a Kardashian and not know what the fuck is up. Like, you know what the fuck is up, honestly. And all that spirit cooking ceremonies that they had, there's no way this nigga was not in there like, wow. And then I bet you it's somebody who's gonna be like, well, he didn't know, they drugged him. I think that's all a fucking game just to make him controlled opposition. I've been hearing about this phrase so much as of late, and it just makes sense now. This nigga Kanye is controlled opposition. We put him out here to really get you emotional about shit, and he's been this way since the jump. See, like, I became the villain. Really? You still get to take all these trips to Japan, you get to go ride your Maybach, you making these music videos, but they froze your account. So I'm confused. Which one is it? Like, if you really out here down bad, I don't know, you able to, like, go and move and do all of these things, and you got people supporting him. After he did the academics interview, he had a crew of people. He was staying up in the Chateau Marmont. That's not a cheap place to stay. It'd be different if he was, like, posted up in, like, a fucking Motel 8, and, like, we was just like, damn, he really is down bad. But, like, he's living okay. So these so-called statements about him, you know, getting his bank account's frozen and he can't see his children, I don't really buy it anymore. I don't buy it. The beat go hard though. I mean, the fucking concept, if you really think about it, is kind of dope. Like, alright, but then we taking up this false flag hero of Hitler. Like, yeah, I'm sure there's probably some good things about Hitler, you know. Alright, we can argue that, but, like, this shit going on here in America right now that we need to be focused on, not Hitler. 75 years ago, 100 years ago shit. I don't even know how long that shit was. 1945? Fuck. Like, when we sit there, Hail Hitler. Come on, bro. Let that shit go. You only doing this shit to be provocative. It's messy. It's so messy. Like, and that's the whole point, because you get people arguing. There's gonna be people saying, oh, well, you know, he's just fighting back against the Jews, the apple juice. But no, bro, he's not doing that. Honestly, I feel like he's working with them. He probably sat down, had a real nice meeting, and said, look, we're gonna make billions over the next 10 years. This is not putting us in a better place at all. All this is doing is just getting people yapping about whether it's good or bad, and not really cutting through the bullshit and really getting at the core issues that we're facing here in America. He made sure he put all these black people here too, just so you can't be like, well, he being real sloppy. And now that we really realize, like, now that I realize, like, who this nigga really is, he's Tetsuo from Akira. That's my first video on this channel. Like, he really is Tetsuo. And if you understand the story of Akira, Tetsuo was bestowed these powers, just like Kanye was bestowed this fame. And it drove him fucking mad to the point he couldn't control. You watch the movie, you'll see it so clearly. This nigga really got the power and he lost control. And his homie Kaneda had to help him out by killing him. And it's going to be tough because there's some people who love Ye and there's some people who hate Ye. But I think they hate him for the reasons that, he's going against, moral conduct. He's not being politically correct. He's saying provocative things. That people are missing is the fact that he's controlled opposition. Maybe his first few albums, before graduation, were earnest and honest albums, but now we really start to see that his antics as of late are just really just to stir up engagement, because I don't think he's making it better. It's not like he's putting anybody on. He just this and that, and you could just see like he's losing it. He's fucking losing it. So this is tough. This is really tough. And I really want to have a conversation with my people out here. So I want to react to what All Facts No Bull is saying. So I'm going to link his channel in the description below. I really want you to go check out his video. We up and coming channels. Same. So, yeah.
Listen, what you just watched was Kanye West's new video, HH. And I think he did that so he didn't get flagged on, I guess, music sites or streaming sites. But it's Heil Hitler. Heil Hitler is the name of this song. And honestly, like, Ye's new music video is causing an uproar.
Of course it is.
Uproar right now across the board. Like, everybody is upset at Ye right now. The thing about this is there may be a deeper message here. And y'all already know every time I bring y'all a video, I'm talking about something deeper here. I'm not giving y'all no sugar-coated type conversation.
All right, so I fucks with the fact that he's not just disregarding this just off rip and just saying like, oh my gosh, you said the bad thing. Like, he's really trying to decipher what's going on here. But as I said before, I really don't think that, I think that the whole point is that we think there's a deeper message, and there could be a deeper message here, but in a sense, because it's coming from this lunatic's mouth, if we try to have a serious conversation about it, we're going to be labeled as crazy too. And this is why it's controlled opposition, because he can go in, they call it poison in the well. Like, he can go in and say all this crazy shit, and then he'll say some true things, but because he said all this other crazy shit, we can't really have a legitimate conversation. That's why I wanted to react to this video, because this person is really trying to have a legitimate conversation about this. So let's see.
We really want to find out what's the code here, or confront the double standards within language and the things we see in symbolism. Like, what is Jay's purpose when he's doing what he's doing in this video? Because the wolf, as you see, he has the guys in like these wolves, what they call them, Phelps, where they're dressed and and wolves stands for freedom and loyalty, and they run in packs and they run together. So what is the symbolism behind the things that Ye is saying right now? And honestly, what's up with this KKK imagery that he's doing? And I think we're going to get deep into it. So stay tuned as we dive deep into this.
Yeah. So those wolf costumes or those pelts that they was wearing was actually tribal garb that people wore prior to the settlers coming here. I was just listening to a Rye Hayes video where he was talking about
it's mutual energy exchange, right? In the cultures, different cultures, we dress like a totem animal. We use their skins in ritual, right? This is the origin of your term skinwalker. In the Battle of Belle Isle with Chief Pontiac, they say he was assisted by some 7-foot-tall wolf-like creatures that emerged from the darkness on the back of the island, right? We was using nature as our camouflage. So the settlers didn't know the terrain. So they running into what they begin to term the skinwalkers and the werewolves. The werewolves come out of the deep south in the Louisiana territory, right? This is the old Mississippian wolf clan. When they dress up like the wolf, they finna go on a hunt, or in this case, they was going to war. and they had their outfits was made out of wolf pellets. You can still see replicas.
Essentially, yeah, this is what I'm talking about, where he'll put in real things that really have deep meanings, but because he's so out there and he's saying all this crazy shit, it's hard to have a fucking real conversation.
Ye's video is bold. One of the boldest moves I think I ever seen him do, and I think any of us has ever seen him do. It is provocative, super provocative, and it's uncomfortable. Like, you got to be honest, it's super uncomfortable. And why is it so uncomfortable? That's the thing we have to ask ourselves.
I wouldn't even say it's uncomfortable. I would just say you know that he's doing these things in order to draw a reaction out of you. And maybe that's the uncomfortable feeling that is being felt, that you feel like you're being pulled at to feel a certain type of way. Because realistically, what is it? It's just him saying, "Hail Hitler, nigga, hail Hitler." And there's a bunch of like dark, melanated people in front of you. It's no real, death and destruction or like anybody really being harmed. It's essentially just concepts in your head that you feel a reaction to.
A lot of people in shock and speechless. They don't even know how to respond to Ye right now. About the mask that we all wear, and I think that's the big message here. Now, if you remember in this video when I talked about Shiloh Hendrix, I talked about mask. I talked about being honest. And I think Ye is saying the same thing.
Oh, I gotta check that out.
I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm just trying to get an understanding exactly what Ye is on right now, because I think he's talking about the mask that we all wear, both pretty much literally and figuratively. We're wearing these masks in society, and it's time to expose everybody's true nature. The mask back on, you're going to have to take the mask off. Because
that's interesting, because I wouldn't even think that it was about wearing masks. I think it's about, just being upset that you're not getting your rightful share and you're not getting proper treatment, where you can see the degradation of your own culture, but at the same time, the culture that's profited in the most from it gets to get off scot-free, and now he's trying to aim back at them. So I wouldn't even think it's necessarily about, unmasking things, because he's wearing a mask. Ever since he came out and said that he was doing the shit that he was doing, he's been wearing that mask. He ain't really been trying to show his face, because in a sense, maybe he's embarrassed. I don't know. Maybe that's part of the game. Maybe this shit is all real, but it's leaning towards
I have
not
the mask
being.
on too, and you're going to have to face me. You're going to have to look me in my eyes and know the person that is the life you're taking, because anybody can wear this mask. Today, that mask doesn't symbolize what it used to. If you're wearing a mask, so am I. And if you really want to hurt the people you think you're hurting, you're going to have to take your mask off, and I'm going to have to take mine off so you can look me in my eyes and see if I'm the person that you're actually after. I'm not sure if that's the case. I think what he's pointing out is that everybody in this today and age, in this world, we're all wearing masks. Everybody's afraid to be who they really are. And then they're hiding behind these false identities to be biased against other people, when we all are standing on the same foundation here in this America, or this place we call America.
Yeah, but he's wearing a mask, so I don't think it's really a critique against people wearing a mask, because he's wearing a mask. So like, what is he really even doing? And honestly, he's in a completely different situation than all of us, because he's dealing with these spirit cookers. He's dealing with these people behind the scenes. We don't know all these people he's dealing with behind the scenes. We don't know who's really supporting him, who's getting him from place to place, if his so-called bank accounts are not being accessed, or he's having all this stuff frozen and whatnot. Come on now.
And I think it's time to approach the truth head on. I think that's what he's trying to say here. This is just my perception. This is just a perspective that I have garnered from just looking into this and kind of sharing some of the same ideologies around truth and honesty that I think Ye is sharing here as well. This commentary, or this language barrier that we're using, I think what Ye is saying in this video is that, why is it okay to state some oppressive words like nigger or nigga, and be able to put them in songs, and be able to put them on the radio, and to be able to make music videos and put them on records and sell them on streaming sites? Why is it okay to say that oppressive thing? that oppressive language?
I think it's not as oppressive as we make it seem to be. I think that's the psyop too. Like, I don't think nigga was ever oppressive. I think people got upset to realize that they weren't a part of the club, and they started to demonize the use of that word. Started to, say it with a little grit in their voice and say, "You niggers," knowing damn well it's nigga, Naji, Naga. Never had that like you really say it with that aggression behind you. And then we started to look at it like, fuck are you doing? What's all that aggression for? Like, it's like when I say it, it come from my spirit. Like, what's up, nigga? What's up, nigga? Like when we say it, there's no oppression there. I feel like it's been co-opted, and people are like, well, can I say it? And it became about the word when it was more about the expression of it and being part of a group of people who just vibe together, and people who recognized they were not a part of that vibe, and they started to try to use it in a discriminatory way, and then it became about that small little vibratory word. So I don't think it has necessarily the same connotation as, Hail Hitler, so to speak. I mean, I can see how we can conflate the two, and we can kind of see like the vibration of that versus this, but I wouldn't even put them on the same wavelength, as one is about extermination and one was just about recognizing one of our own.
And our cultural structure today, why does this double standard exist? Why is this something that no one is speaking about, and we constantly allow this degenerate ideology to keep surfacing and being okay amongst the masses? Asking, why is it okay for certain oppressive language to be used in music and culture and movies and things like that, when other phrases like "Hell Hitler" seems to be condemned? How is that the case here? Why are we okay with using certain oppressive language but not okay?
Well, it's all about who we let get in control of the media. And that's where the deeper conversation starts, is we just naturally just vibe out and do what we do, and there's people who said, oh, we can capitalize on that. And from the onset, it's just like, okay, like, you want to capitalize on stuff we just do. It's just like if somebody came into your house right now and was just like, we're going to put cameras all around and we're going to document you doing you. You're like, okay, we'll give you a few dollars a week. Like, oh, okay, I guess it'll pay my rent, whatever. Not really pressed about it. I was already doing that. But meanwhile, they give you pennies when they really making dollars. So, and then they use those dollars that they made, and essentially they grew more and more influence, and it snowballed into them having so much influence that they could control who gets put on. And now you got people clamoring to have cameras put in their own house. And now they putting on shows. And then it got to a point where then they started to say, oh, well, we get to choose who goes up there. So it was a real smooth transition. It's just like that old adage of, like, if you put a frog in hot water, he's just going to jump out. But if you put it in tepid water and let it warm up, you won't know what's happening. So, but now we're starting to wake up like, hey, it's heating up. And there's certain sects of us that are going to realize we need to get out of this hot water in whatever way. But there's some people just not going to realize, and they're just going to get cooked. So you need to recognize who you are at a certain point.
Hail Hitler. Is this something that we're conditioned to be okay with or to accept? Is this the way of life that we have chosen to, or set up and chosen to be okay with? While these other words like Hail Hitler, wetback or cracker, or all of these with chinks, like, why are those things condemned? Well, I think they're condemned, but simply because we like to use this thing called term of endearment when it comes to the N word or nigger. We like to use the N word in a sense that people say, oh, it's a term of endearment. Who made that notion? Is that a collective thing that now this is just a collective?
Because it is. Like all those other terms, the difference is we use it as a term of endearment. And I strongly believe that we use that word as a term of endearment. But those other words like chink and wetback, those have a strong association with being discriminatory pejoratives. We just, for whatever reason, that's the only word where it was just like, we kind of flipped it. And I think it was always a term we used. Maybe in different accents and certain inflections. Certain people use it slightly different. Maybe it came out a little bit different. But in a sense, I think it was always a vibration of a recognition word. And then people came in, and those were the people who tried to denigrate it for not feeling a part of it. I don't think there was ever a point where people ever really was just like wetback as like my homie. We set the trend on all of these things. We make it so we flip the script on certain words. Those other words, I think they try to lump it all in to make it seem like, oh look, yeah, all these, that's not right. We shouldn't say it. Like, I just know when I'm around certain people, I can use it freely and I don't feel any sort of negativity. I don't think there's any like Mexicans just like, yo, what's up, wetback? Like common words that we know. I don't think that those words are even remotely close to being used as terms of endearment.
These are questions I'm asking. I'm not dictating what should be anything or what shouldn't be something. I'm just asking a question to spark a conversation. And that's what we're missing. Honest conversation across the board.
I'm asking this question then. If maybe my interpretation is wrong, maybe I'm completely missing the base. But since I was a young person, I always knew nigga was just a thing you said and you just roll with it and it was cool. And it always just felt like a thing. I still use it to this day. I'd rather use the term nigga than be called a black African American. That's how I truly feel. I don't feel like that's, and you know, there's a lot of people who disagree with me, and that's fine. But I really want to ask you, in your heart of hearts, have you ever, before it was like programmed into you, like, can you really go back to the point where you first heard that word and you really thought about it? Did you feel bad?
Now, some cultures may have condemned those words themselves, and they made sure that those words were looked at as derogatory, while certain communities like the African American community or the black community or the POC community chose to, embrace the word. But if you're going to embrace the word, then why not allow everyone to use it? As I mentioned before, you allow Mexicans, Hispanics, Puerto Ricans. We allow all of these people to use the word.
I think the reason that happens is because there's a lot of intermingling amongst those communities. Like, if you understand America as a continent, there was always a connection between the people. Before we came in and we started to put these artificial barriers, this state and that state and this country and that country, we freely moved throughout these spaces. It's a lot of cross-platforming. It's usually always associated with Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, the Hispanics, that we say like, well, why do they get to use? It's a communal thing. Like, you were part of my community. I see you. I recognize you as my in group. You're cool. You got it. You're wait, I don't know you. You coming from where? Then it's now we questioning, wait, why are you saying it? It'd always be that one motherfucker who come from like, well, all my friends, I grew up in the hood. And then they come to like New York or something and none of the people there know who you are. And you slinging it around like, because I'm already recognizing you as the out group. Because I just see the outset in your skin color. Whoa, who are you? So, but the people who you grew up with, they knew you. You grew up with them. Oh, he's cool. Ain't nothing but Francis. Francis, yeah, his mama was da 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 da. So he cool, but then you move to a whole different land, space, a whole different part of the country, and then now they like, well, I don't necessarily know who you are, bro, and you throwing it around like this, like that, and it causes all this confusion. And it became about the word, so people kind of harped on the word, but we got to really start thinking about the sentiment and why you would want to use a word, why you would want to show whether or not you was in with somebody or not.
With no flack. Fat Joe, the rapper, has been getting a lot of pushback about certain things he said, but he's continuously using the word as favorably as he chooses because it's something that he's been using for so long, and he grew up in a certain community, in a certain culture, and he claims to be black himself. So it may be a different perspective from certain cultures to another, but it seems that we've created a comfortable condition with the N word. I think what Ye is doing is forcing us to confront the the uncomfortable questions. And that's what I'm hoping that most people can get more comfortable with, asking the hard questions, being okay with putting themselves out on the front line, and being a part of real conversation, because I think we're missing out on real conversations across the board. Now, here's where it gets a little deep. I don't think Kanye West is just trying to provoke people for no reason. I don't think that's the case here with Kanye West. I'm sorry, with Ye.
Yeah, and I think that's where we disagree. I do think that he's trying to provoke people. You gotta play this attention game. You gotta rage bait people. That's the new economy. He's tapped into at least that he knows, like, all right, well, look, I gotta, for sure he's gotta pay some type of child support. Let's just be honest. Now, it may not be like how, the homie around the way is paying child support, but he's definitely getting siphoned for his money, and he's using this as a way to promote this. So, he's got to be a bit provocative. Now, we as intelligent people, we're very creative in our mindsets that we can look at, you know, a blank canvas, and we can say, I can see the picture here. I can, ooh, yeah, I can see it's a little bit of this, it's a little bit of that. Let's throw some red over there. Yes. It's art now. And now, if he truly was about that life, we would see him actually tapped in to some of these cultural platforms, is really talking about that real, like Rod Hayes, like Young Elder, like Dane Calloway. Like I'm sure, like, if he really was about that life, we would be seeing him more involved with those people. But he's not. He is usually tapped in. He's trying to get involved with the younger base. He's trying to get them involved because these impressionable minds are going to just be tapped into whatever is rebellious. And that's the genius part of it. That is the true genius, that he knows he has to go with the minds of the youth, because that's what's going to help him to continue on his legacy. He's tapped in. He's got North. She's telling him, go talk to this person, because he wants to be seen as relevant.
I think he's really trying to get us to address the most uncomfortable things that we can address so we can have real conversations at this point. I think he's trying to get us to understand the mask that we are wearing every day, and to address the language that we're using, because it definitely seems at this point Kanye is on a different path. He's on a whole different path to unveil the unveilable, because I think people don't want to really look in the mirror. Are we being consistent is another question. Or are we just hiding behind the mask that allows us to be judgmental, biased, and have these selective outrages depending on if it fits our cloak that we're wearing? If it doesn't fit the ham of the cloak that we're wearing, and is it something that we can use to stand out and be a part of something versus being a part of everything or nothing at all? Because I think people either want to be fully a part of something, or they just want to be a part of enough just so they can feel accepted. And that's the part of society that has been twisted. And I think we have to uncover what's the real issue here.
No, I don't think that's even possible, because there's always going to be the winners and the losers. There's always going to be those who have and those who have not. There's just not ever going to be equal basis. Even if you try to flatten the things out in a legitimate, honest way, there's always going to be somebody who wants to just stand out, who wants to stand up. If you make it so everybody's beautiful and wonderful and peaceful and calm, there's always going to be somebody who wants to stand up and say, well, I think ugly's being pretty. I'm like, what are you even talking about, bro? But it's always going to be that opposite. That's just the nature of this world. That's the physics of this planet and psychological dynamics. People want to be unique. So if you try to flatten things out and make it so there's no oppressive language, then you just lower the bar to what's oppressive, and you make it so, all right, well, you really shouldn't say mean things. Then me saying, well, I'm going to say mean things becomes a mean thing. Like, why would you oppose what I'm saying? I'm just saying don't say mean things. And I'm just saying I want to say mean things. And that becomes like so offensive that you would oppose me, right? That's we were softening the minds. We can't really handle like that opposition. That's essentially what's happening now. Like, people become snowflakes to the point that you put Hail Hitler in a song and it's like, oh my gosh, like WTF. I can't even say what the fuck no more. I gotta say WTF. And eventually it's going to get to a point where you can't even use those letters together. Like, he said WTF. oh, slow down, buddy. They might hear you. Oh my gosh. Like, so I don't think there's ever going to be a point where it's just not going to be anything offensive. We just have to strengthen our minds to be able to have resolve against opposition, because there's always going to be ops. Let's be honest.
Here. And when it comes to oppression or oppressive language, I think what Ye is trying to say is, if one group can reclaim that language and that symbolism, shouldn't that apply across the board for all groups? Like, if we're running around here saying nigga in all our music and our TV shows and, you know, all our movies, shouldn't it be okay for those words to be used across the board as well? I mean, are we really feeling like these people are that, or are we just expressing something that is culturally, stitched into the fabric of our society?
I think you as the artist need to draw that line. You're the literal artist who draws that line. Like, I'm making art. I'm not making hate. I can have open and honest conversations. But when we get in this world where it's all about attention, and you realize like, oh, I can get seen for doing this crazy thing, let me do that, and then label it as art. So now I've drawn the line to say this isn't hate, this is art. So it's always on the artist to draw that line between hate and art. So in a sense, it is kind of smart, because now you're pushing back and he's giving us more to kind of digest, in a sense, where it's just like, oh, okay, is it hate, is it art? Well, I'm gonna just call it hate. Well, I think it's artful. So now we have a higher tolerance for what is, I guess, offensive, because in a sense you really can't even have a conversation about this stuff. So in a way, I can recognize like, okay, we're at least having honest conversations about what's going on, instead of just being like, he's a bad person, we just turn him off. Just I can't hear it. Turn Ye off. I don't want to hear any more Ye, because he's just offensive. I can't even conversate. I can't even converse about Ye. So now we can at least have a conversation. So that's where I think we can draw the line. I want y'all to go check out his video. Get the rest of his video, watch. Give him a like. Give me a like. I'm speaking from my heart at this point. Yeah, y'all know where to find me.